dirt roads outside. There was robberies quite frequently, and it was just like, you can hold your breath anywhere with your partner for a year or 2 or 3, but when it's time to have kids, it's like, okay, I want to change my circumstances.
Yeah.
And I started looking for a piece of property, and then I built a house, and then she was pregnant when we moved into the house. I'm sure the rest is.
The rest is history.
Yeah, there you go. So yeah.
Well, that's great insulation, the straw. Did you do clay on the outside to use the mortar?
Cement mix about an inch thick, that's all. So it's just thrown on and then smoothened out. So it's quite big walls, yeah.
Yeah.
And I can juggle inside. I built it extra tall so I can juggle inside.
And then the heat goes up?
Juggle?
I do, yeah, of course. I'm a juggler.
Of course.
And if it gets real hot, does the heat?
The heat does go up, yeah.
And
And there's air vents up the top.
Oh, you have it, yeah.
Yeah.
So
I've
when you
performed-
offered to juggle our phones, you were serious, huh?
I have performed in circuses here
Yeah.
a number of times, and I've gotten paid. I took off 3 months when my brother came here in 2001. I decided to take 3 months off and play, and so we joined up, went to Granada, went up to Esteli, went over to the Atlantic coast, and went all around doing juggling and circusing for 3 months.
You ran away with the circus.
I did.
A buckster.
I was, the three of us, himself, his partner, and I did it. And so we just travelled on the public buses, brought our gear, and just played for 3 months, and it was fantastic.
Wow.
Yeah, it was loads of fun.
Great.
Interesting.
Very well received.
Yeah, sure. We didn't have much Spanish, but the Nicaraguan announcements in the evening time, we have a bunch of gringos performing for us tonight, here we go, it's going to be a spectacular event, they're the highlight of the show. So yeah, everywhere we went, we were there. We'd wrap it up.
Those
And
gringos,
would you have
magnificent.
past the hat kind of thing? Or?
We got paid just like the other artists, which
Oh,
was like
right.
about $5 per show, but we weren't doing it for the money, we were doing it for the experience and the enjoyment of doing it. And so in the daytime we practiced our own show and developed our own skills, and we taught the Nicaraguan that we were working with, anyone who wanted to learn and practice with, of course.
Oh, nice.
And then at night time we performed in the shows. So we had a number of different acts that we were going, and at one point I had a,
So give us a little, take your hat or whatever.
right, so what I did, one of the acts was my brother was juggling 3 pins. I'm sure the 3 pins go around in a snake at full speed and there's no gap in it. And he came out with a girl's full-on dress, high heels and a hat on. And I came out with a suit on, hat and shoes on. And as the clubs are spinning around, you take off your clothes, and he undid the whole dress and it came down and everyone would go, woo! And all the music was going the whole time. We're doing salsa dancing back and forth and the lights are going. And the whole point is we switch clothes. I end up with the dress on, and he ends up
clothes while you're juggling?
while juggling never stops, so the pins are continuing on. So as the, one hand you're taking it off like that, and you finish up and you grab the next one while you're finishing that one on. And so you're constantly doing that and playing with it. And we did that a number of times. We got it down, we fully finished all clothes and finish, and then we ended up switching. But one of them down in Granada, we were on stage, we were doing it, and one of the clubs went shooting off the stage, off behind into the crowd, and we were just left there, both of us in our boxer shorts. Just do that with the music while we waited for the
That
club
probably
to
got a
come
big
back.
applause too, huh? I said that probably got a big applause
That
too.
did, I won't forget that one. So that was fun.
Oh, man.
Oh, that's funny.
Off to here.
Did anybody videotape that?
No, luckily it's just memories.
Oh, we get coffee too?
Si quiere cafecito, hay cafecito.
Yeah, I'm right at the edge of where I could have coffee.
So if you want coffee and sugar, if you want sugar as well, sugar.
It's extra.
We don't need to.
Muchas gracias y chibola.
Do you perform with at any of the hospitals for the kids and stuff?
There was a group here called Doctors Without
Borders.
But there were Clowns Without Borders, and Clowns Without Borders came and stayed in another hostel, and they heard about me, contacted and said, we need a driver for the week, and I went, of course you do. And I also brought my juggling clubs and hung out with them, and we went to lots of different projects, and we went into the hospitals a number of times and performed there. But it was heartbreaking. I
Yes.
remember just being, it was fun to hang out and do that, but it was also a little bit of, that was tough going.
Oh,
just to
yeah,
see
but
the closeness of it all, but also summer stuff. It was just, it was a whole mad,
yeah, I have
it
them.
was a mad show, like. So yeah, I have done somebody comes along and says, come on, I need a hand doing something, of course I'll make myself available and try and do it, you know. Do something real.
I'm thinking here, and it probably makes no sense, but I was just so struck with the taking the gun stock
Oh yeah.
and converting it to. There's a wonderful group called Syracuse Cultural World.
Uh-huh.
They make wonderful calendars and they sell T-shirts and everything. And
Yeah.
somehow, if that could be spun in a, I don't know about the Sandino. I don't think they would understand that. But in other words, somehow to. I don't know. I don't have it quite here, but you know, just to
No worries.
be able to sell that through them, to have it as available.
A project did contact me a couple of years
did
ago called Novika, and they are National Geographic, and they get my stuff. I go through a person who helps me, and they put it onto their website, and they bring it up to Guatemala, and then from Guatemala it goes to California, and it's on their website. You can buy some of my stuff.
Oh, I see. Okay,
And so they send me a
you're-
check every now and again.
So you may have it covered already.
No, but I don't sell them that Sandino or any of that stuff. I make a ton of stuff in my workshop. Like, you know, I'm always making something, and then for a while I'm making that, and another thing I'm making this, and so yeah, I'll just.
Is that the Syracuse Peace Council? Doug?
Yes.
That puts out that council, Syracuse Peace Council?
Yes.
Yeah, they've been around forever.
Oh, yeah, it used to be, his name was Cool, and the last name Cool, he just died recently. But it's a wonderful, you know, we buy calendars at bulk, and then the grannies and other peace activists in here, you know, we sell them, let's say, for $10 a piece. I don't know what they go for, but it's cheaper, and then you make, you know, maybe charge $12. You make $2, and then you throw
All kinds.
Oh, they're beautiful.
In fact, the last one I got from them, I did get one from them in the last couple of years somehow. And it was kind of overloaded with stuff. I thought, you know, every single day of the month had.
So do you take on apprentices?
At some point to a link to that, and then if you ever, you can put that next to the compost, and then
Odd stuff. It's like there's a chance where I can just experiment and try something, you know, because I've made out the same piece, the same stock. They're already cut. The company that was making all of those gun stock folded. They contacted me and said, "Do you want to buy all this stuff?" And I said, "No, I don't have that kind of spare cash." He wanted, you know, $10,000 for all of his stuff. And I went, "No." And then he contacted me again and said, "Come on, what's the lowest price you can give me?" And so I said, X amount, and then I took away all of their stock. So I've got sacks and sacks of that gun stock and all different points of nicely finished to half squared up. And so some of that squared stuff I've made chessboard pieces out of, like, and other small arts and crafts. So yeah, but there's a limited amount. Like I've gone through a sack of it already.
Yeah.
And every now and again I try and make up a bunch of Sandino things and then just give them out. It's just very good. Nice memory.
and what kind of guns were they being used for?
He gave me the names and they were labeled, some of them, and they're all, I think there's 6 different types of guns that were ordered.
Rifles?
No, all hand. They're all hand
Handgun,
pistols.
okay.
They're all hand pistols. He had the laser engraver that he wanted me to buy. He had all his machinery that he wanted me to buy. And I was like, no, and then he's like, no, come on, really. But I didn't buy the laser engraver because he wanted, I think, $8,000 for that. That was separate. And it's not, you know, it was well used. So anyway, it's all right. But I did buy all the stock, the gun stock from him. I thought that was kind of cute. It's just, I'm happy to convert it into something, you know.
Wonderful. A wonderful piece of creativity.
Dove. I'll make some. I'll look up that logo and make a couple of doves.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The Veterans for Peace dove.
Oh, that would be a wonderful.
Actually, that would be pretty cool. We have,
Well, if you're a lifetime member, you get a.
yeah, something like that. We have our people in Vietnam make. We have
Wooden pie.
it's a group of kids who've been affected by Agent Orange, and they
Alright.
make these beautiful handmade plaques that we give out as awards, and
Cool.
you know, and it has our logo. It's the helmet
Very
with
nice.
the dove on it,
Yeah.
and it'd be neat to have something. I'm sure you could do
Yeah.
stuff
I'll see
like
what
that.
I can make up and try it out and send a photograph or something. I do.
Cool.
Whatever creative stuff you can come up with. I'm
Wonderful.
sure we would have a very willing
No worries.
group.
Do you take on apprentices teaching?
A the person, I had about 3 people working for me. Before 2018, my workshop was bigger, and I had all the guys from the village. There were 3 guys in the village working, and then other jobs came up, and I've got 1 guy full time now with me.
Yeah, great.
And so he helped me build our house, and then I built the workshop after that, and he's been there since.
Oh, great.
I did it the wrong way around. I should have built the workshop first and had the tools then to build the house, but I built the house and then built the workshop. So he shows me stuff now. He's the person who's there all day long at the machinery, and I go out and I do other stuff, and then I come back and I go, oh, and then he explains to me, no, this doesn't work because of this. So I do have the background. I've studied the books, but he's doing it practically. So it's a very much a 2-way conversation now with him, rather than me telling him how it's done. So
Is he a sound?
Well, when we were driving around, we saw
he's
all that
my
woodwork.
employee. I keep the workshop separate, and so
When we
whatever
were
the workshop
driving up
generates,
in the
generates
mountains,
for
they
him.
had all that woodworking, the furniture.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I think those are just local.
And then he gets to make all his own furniture as well, and what he needs to do in the workshop. of
So, I
course.
mean, there's a strong, I know when we were driving around, I can't remember where we were going exactly, but we went up and we saw, Becca was showing us that all the furniture, the woodworking up that was making, so there are people really dedicated to
Massive
it.
head, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Right up as you're driving towards probably Messiah. Messiah
Yeah,
is famous for its arts and crafts. And if I wasn't living in Ciudad Sandino, I'd love to live in Messiah.
Yeah.
It's the workshop of Nicaragua. They do everything from leather work,
That's
stone
it.
work, shoes, clothing, hair, all of it. And they do amazing woodworking. And so all my machineries I've bought down there. They've got the best practical, and they're very close to the forests down there. They've got a lot of access to the wood down there. And so my workshop is at home, so therefore I don't have to pay security in the daytime. That's why it's there.
Yeah.
But Messiah is really the home of arts and crafts.
And did you make that hot tub yourself?
Yeah.
You made a mold and then you...
Well done, well spotted, yeah. The mold was upside down.
Yeah.
And so it was like a turtle or a helmet. And so you just put the metal around it and then throw on the stucco, which is like porridge, as you all know. Just throw it on and then wait it for a full week. And then afterwards we lift it up with some bars and then just flopped open. Just flopped upside down.
It's rebar.
It's all rebar inside, and it's about 3 centimeters thick of cement and rebar, heavy rebar. And then just to move it, we just turned it, just rolled it into place. And then I stuck the lid on extra, that lip there, so you can sit on it, on the edge of it, and then you just flop down into it, and the water's up as far as there. So there's no seat, there's nothing in there. It's very smooth inside.
Wonderful.
And then there's just an intake. The cold water goes in at the bottom, and the hot water comes out the top. And so you don't go near this area, or it's just. But then the water just flows around and it mixes, and it's lovely. It's really cool design. It's not my design at all. Like, it was just. But as soon as I saw it, I went, oh yeah.
I can do that.
And they make it in fiberglass for 6,000 euros. The Dutch tub. It's a website and you can see it, and then you can move it anywhere in your garden. But how often are you really going to move something like that? So yeah.
Not too often.
So you made this whole thing up.
There was trees in here previously that had overgrown and they were damaging the roof here, and they're all going into the neighbours and they're all complaining. And so I talked with Becca and said, okay, let me take out the heavier trees. They're only going to start damaging here. Let's put gardens. It'll open up space for murals. And then let me put this hot tub here. It's the highest point on this property. And then I've got piping all around. So when the hot tub is done after a few days, we open up the spigot, and then the water goes into all of the gardens. And then we can fill it up again.
Wow.
So the water is reused for the garden.
And were you using a electric mixer?
No, it's all done by hand.
Yeah.
Sure. Oh yeah, there's not much cement in it. If you look at it, it's like
this.
I know it's right here. You just mix it up. There's about 8 bags of cement here, and there's 4 bags in that. Like, so it's just a bag of cement. You just 2 or 3. Where are you?